Hey, my name's Sean Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. Welcome to Avatar: The Last Podcasters, and I'm stoked to talk about this because I've been re-listening to the Rise of Kyoshi book, and I think I'm 80% through it now, and it's great. And that's not what spawned this idea. We had this idea a long time ago, and it's one of those that we kept saying like, "Oh, that would be a good episode," and then we just didn't do it. Well, now we're doing it, and it's best deaths in Avatar. And we're including novels, canon TV shows, no disrespect intended to the Netflix show, but the canon animated TV shows. And I don't know enough about the graphic novels. Chris, I assume if there's something cool in the graphic novels, you would have told me.
There might be 0 deaths in the graphic novels.
No deaths. Lame. Not going to read it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think a single person. Well, Aang does kill General Old Iron and the Rift, who's a spirit. That's interesting. Aang killed a spirit.
So he won't take a
That's not
life of
really.
a person, but he will take a life of a spirit?
Yeah, that's. I never really thought about the hypocrisy of that.
Sounds like
Because
some
spirits
racist shit
are
to
like.
me.
I mean, spirits are like sentient beings.
Well, he's supposed to
And
be the bridge between worlds. At what point is he just like, that world's less important? Its inhabitants are lesser. And that's
I
how
never thought of that before.
Total Recall happens. That's how Total Recall starts.
An Ankfield. Now I gotta grab the book and see what Aang.
Make sure it's see if it's a really cool kill. Also, Chris,
I mean, he puts the hole through him.
After we're done with our list, which is just a top 10 list for the record, let's look at the correlation between what's on the list and its source material, maybe in terms of books or seasons, and then compare that to some of our favorite books or seasons, and let's just see if there's a correlation in between how much murder we like in our media. just eyeball it, you know. So, just to give some background, originally we were going to do just each other's top fives and snake back and forth like we do sometimes. And frankly, there's just too much awesome, for narrative or whatever reasons. There's just too much awesome death in a lot of Avatar media. And so we decided to expand our list to 10 and collaborate. So it is a collaborative top 10 list. By best, we really just mean best, like overall narrative impact. It's how it's presented on screen or in the pages.
Cool looking.
Yes, cool looking, emotional feeling sounding. The only criteria that we really gave was canon series, and that we wanted it to occur in the timeline of the story. And the example that I'm going to give is, no Airbender genocide, right? Like not stumbling on somebody who's dead, or not like Katara's mom, not those things, but stuff that occurred within the chronology of the story being told. That was really our only limitations. And then, like I said, after this, we'll do a little therapy session on why we do or don't like certain things. And Chris, I will.
Thank you. Not to do an honorable mention here, because it's not really an honorable mention. I'm very mentioning because it's contradictory to Aang. So this is like the panel, right?
Okay. Oh, what a great looking panel.
Yeah, he's fighting the spirit, and he throws this like airbending blast in him, and then that's panel. You can see the hole through him right there. Like he puts a hole through the guy.
Holy Spirit. I get it.
Like that's pretty much his whole torso.
Aang was just telling a joke. A little Holy Spirit joke.
And then he says, right. Then the General Old Iron says, after he leaves, I pay homage to you, young human. You have vanquished me. So that's very concrete.
That's some Dragon
Ancient.
Quest. That's some Dragon Quest caliber dialogue right there, though. Thou hast vanquished me.
I mean, I guess you could say, and then he kind of turns into these like I don't know eel things, and then they kind of go off in the distance. Maybe that's the like, oh no, Aang didn't kill the spirit. The spirit just became this kind of different
Reincarnated
thing.
into other spirit energies.
But no, Aang killed that dude. That's what I'm gonna leave it as.
Chris, do you want
I
to?
mean, he does have these remorseful eyes. You know,
It. You can really see it in his eyes.
this one.
I'm also gonna apologize because I can feel it coming. This is our second episode, and we're both just like a little bit raspy, a little bit coughing. I can feel mine get worse. So if that kind of thing bothers you, I am very sorry. But
Get over. I'm
get over.
sorry.
The show must go on. Chris, I
Ugh.
liked how we did it last time. If you're interested, where you took the evens, and then when we get to honorable mentions, and I'll take some of those, and then you can have the top one.
Okay. Cool. I think you said that just to avoid. I didn't give you this list, Sean. Or do you have that list?
I have it. I hope we landed on the same thing. 1, 2, 3,
I could.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, you start, and then we'll find out right away if we landed on the same thing.
I'll send it to you just in case that. Uh, allow, sure, whatever.
I mean, like I said, I typed it as we talked to, so I think we're good.
Okay, I'll believe it. Believe it, Dr. Bayo. Anyway, number 10 is Sean's favorite character, Jet. Jet's death hurt Sean so much, Sean. You don't have to say anything about it. It hurts so bad.
No, Chris, this is a perfect. It fits in best deaths, as in characters that you think are best to be dead. It's perfect. It's best. Yay! No, that's horrible. I'm not that bad of a person.
One thing, this is a very. Honestly, if we look at Jet and his story, it is such a sad story, right? Like Jet has in his mind, Fire Nation evil, so evil. I gotta kill evil Fire Nation citizens.
You know what?
Then
I'm
he's like,
with
all
you to
right, you
that
know what?
point. Like, all right. Oh, I'm sorry. You said Fire Nation citizens, not okay. Never mind. I retract my statement.
Okay. Then he's like, you know what? I'm over that world. And then he ends up getting brainwashed by the Earth Kingdom. And then he ends up getting killed by the second in command of the Earth Kingdom. Like the irony is overwhelming. And it's a sad moment when he dies. Like he's sitting there lifeless, emotionless, and and he talks to Qatar like, hey, I'll be fine. And Toph, because we've been told that she can sense people are lying, she can be like, he's lying, like he's not gonna be fine. And then Smellby is like, go, like he's our leader. And then Longshot, who has spoken not a word the whole freaking time, speaks up. It's things are that serious. He speaks up and says, go, he's our leader, we'll take care of him. And then I will say, I have some type of Mandela effect or something. And then, but I swear, the first time I watched this, I thought when Team Avatar walks through the door, Longshot takes out his arrow. I thought he pointed at Jet to take out Jet's misery.
Oh, jeez.
Like I thought that the first, but like in a way
A
of like,
dark AF right there.
but they don't. Of course, they don't show it. I definitely did not. I definitely misremembered that because the next time I watched, like the second time I watched the show, I was like, oh, he doesn't point it at Jet. He was just pointing at the Nets Daily agents who were coming, or the Nets whoever were coming. And
I
an
mean,
event, I guess they got Jet out.
that's still a touching interpretation, right? That you even thought that in the first place.
Yeah. All right, Sean, say something good about Jet.
Jet's death is really sad because you hate to see a guy trying to turn over a new leaf get the short end of the stick, right? Like somebody making turning a corner, and then this is what they get. That feels like the opposite. That feels like wild injustice. That's what I'll say for Jet.
I thought you were going to go in the opposite direction and start all serious and then end with a joke. But great point.
No,
great point.
No, terrible injustice to the Jet that you might have started to like. That you, as in me specifically, Giovanni also doesn't like Jet. I was like, listen, Chris and I talk about this character a lot because Chris kind of likes him, and I think he's a douchebag. And at the end of the episode, and he just looks at me, he's like, "You're right, he's a douchebag." I was like, "I know I'm right." But
how long are you guys? You guys got like 2 weeks to.
We'll never get there. He does like it legitimately. Like he asks to watch it when we have time. It's just between like soccer, and we still have a little bit of softball. So there's never any free time. But he like voluntarily is ready to watch it whenever time permits. So he's into it. I think we are 10 or 11 episodes in.
Yeah, this pace you're not gonna make.
No, but I think that we will comfortably get. I want to get to Toph. I want him to see Toph before we go to the concert, which is November 2nd for anybody who's listening. November 2nd, Kansas City. I don't know why. That just feels like a good marker to get to as like as a goal. Stretch goal all of season 2 would be cool. I just don't see when the time's gonna happen.
Is he not just sitting around? Like, what? Are you guys that busy?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. So every Tuesday and Thursday, he plays JV, but he also is on the varsity roster. So every Tuesday night, he's at soccer for like 6 hours after school. Mondays, we still play softball. The past 2 or 3, the past every Friday. Like Friday, like weekend trips or experiences and things like that. It's pretty much Wednesday or bust. And that's it. That's our whole life. So
I live a very chill life. Like I have time we don't do anything. We probably could do more, but we don't do that much.
He has time to we have time to watch TV independent of each other, right? Like during certain work days, as long as my boss isn't listening, during certain work days, I'll sit in this recliner with my laptop and put on some ambient whatever. I could watch Avatar, or like he could watch it without me. He really likes soccer. The TV show House, which is weird to me that he likes House that much, and whatever, right? And a few that he's watching, but like time where we're in the same room at the same time, even with or without Heather, is just pretty limited. But even Heather's been watching with us when she can. Long story short, he's into it. He digs it. He's gonna like the concert. Wish we would have gotten farther is all. Such is life. Number 9 is, I'm going to call it, how am I going to pronounce it? I change it every single time. I'm going to say Malaya.
Oh, you said Malaya this time.
I'm going to say, is that
Malaya sounds better, I think. But my head's not connecting to A-Y, because it's spelled M-A-L-A-Y-A.
That's like Malaya. That's 2 different A sounds in the same word. That's messed up. Malaya. Well, I guess both ways it is. Anyway, we won't know for sure until the audiobook comes out and some random person pronounces it, and then we're like, okay. It's crazy how informative that is. So Malaya. Isn't there some of the stupid other ones that we've talked about before, like Maya's name being pronounced one way, but then what is there? I feel like we've had a discussion before of inconsistent.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to make it to this episode. Malaya is so sad. It's Gyatso and her are developing a relationship. I had to talk again. I can't talk without choking. Malaya and Gyatso are developing a relationship, and you can tell that they are I'm not gonna say falling in love, but they're clearly quickly becoming attached to one another, very emotionally. And then Malaya is killed, maybe not unexpectedly, because she definitely doesn't trust Sozin, but to be killed by a Sozin who we as an
Oh, we should
audience.
say there's spoiler.
Oh crap, we should have learned for spoilers. I'll put it in
I mean, we
the
did say that we're okay. Yeah.
I'll put it in the title. We're talking about deaths, right? So is there an implication? But that we as the audience, we know that Sozin's a bad guy, but we feel like at this point in the story that we're supposed to be trusting him, and that Malaya is being too protective, too cautious. But then she's right, and he kills her, and you feel horrible for Gyatso because to this point in Gyatso's story, he is the underdog. He's riding the struggle bus, and you just want something to go right for him. And you really like Malaya's character as essentially being on the side of right, despite her nurture, despite everything that she's been raised into. So you really want them to just be happy together and at least be friends, and for her to go on. So disheartening, well written, interesting little back and forth between her and Sozin, and very sad.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely mentioned from Gatso's point of view. Gatso just getting over, kind of working through the death of his sister, and then Malaya helping with that, and then having to lose Malaya to the and like I would say this, I love how deeply connected we were to the character. I find a lot of the writing around that very flawed, as I mentioned in our review. But the moment itself, it still absolutely works because it makes me hate Sozin even more. Like after reading that, I was like, "F you, Sozin!" Like F you.
Yeah, you don't go into it wanting to like Sozin, but you understand the author trying to paint present Sozin as like not yet the threat, not yet the real Sozin. But yeah, this makes you
Yeah.
hate him absolutely in the way that it's supposed to.
Yep. All right, number 8, Hiroshi Sato being squashed like the literal bug. He's in a bug suit, like almost.
It's poetic
It's a great,
justice.
yeah. Um, it's a great moment because Hiroshi and Asami finally reconcile. She won't forgive him for what he's done, but they're ready to move forward. They had this great moment. He's very remorseful about his actions, and he helped. Like he is incremental in Team Avatar winning the day. Without him, they don't win. And without not only his brain but his sacrifice, like even afterwards, they're like, we can't let this go to waste. Like, and he like, right? He's like, the moment's built up so great. He's trying to buzz around, saw a hole in it, which is almost like a clock. I'm thinking a lot about time lately. I recently watched Interstellar for the whatever fourth time. That movie gets better and better each time. I love that
It's
movie.
way too much thinking for me. 100% too much thought.
To think too much. Like, I mean, sure, there's the gravity and time dilation and stuff.
But if you don't put a little thought into it, you kind of miss any of the complexity that makes it interesting. And I just,
Yeah. Okay.
it,
The end there. I think the end don't put too much thought into it.
yeah, probably not.
I'm like,
Probably not. Well, couldn't you say
yep,
that about a lot of his films, though?
nah, no.
No,
I think most of the films.
not
I
like
don't think there's many holes in really any of this. Well, I can't count Tenet. Tenet's really hard.
I'm not
I
familiar with
watched
that.
it.
I'm a bad judge for that one.
It's I watched it one time and I was like, that's not real.
Okay.
Um, but like the end of Interstellar is like, all right, go into a black hole. No one's ever been in a black hole because you can't go in a black hole. But he ends up going in the black hole, and then the humans from the future, because they figured out all the technology and stuff, create this physical dimension in order for him to perceive the fifth dimension, which is just his bookcase back home. At that point, you can't think that too hard on it. Like, how did they do it? And so you just got to go with, okay, they put him in this thing. He can affect the past through gravity. I understood that part because gravity, they make it the sense of like, all right, gravity is a thing that can transcend time because that's often how it is. It's like if gravity is different here, time works different. Anyway, gravity can
That
transcend time.
time is not consistent, or time can I'm going to word it poorly, but just the idea that time is not like 100% consistent across the universe.
Yeah, and how gravity, which that's a real thing. Like in according to science, I can't explain it. That like
String
gravity is
theorists or
different.
something. I don't know. Yeah.
Not even. I don't think it's even a theory. I think it's like a legit proven thing that gravity affects time. Like they'll send like a
No, remember that's what a
uh,
theory, right? Hypothesis is unproven. Theory is proven.
what?
Hypothesis is unproven. Theory is proven. I believe.
Okay, okay,
Right.
cool. I think so.
Yes.
Uh, and laws are things that can't be unproven because theories be
Theories
proven but
can.
then later be unproven.
Yes, but usually if you're saying a theory, you're talking about something that's like an accepted.
Yeah,
Maybe proven's not the right word, but an accepted solution.
yeah, yeah. I get you. Okay.
But then laws,
Uh,
those are gravity.
yeah, those are yeah. But yeah, apparently like it's true. Like gravity is like they'll put like a twin. Like they can like how you can carbon date things. Like a twin would go into space, and you'd be like, oh, he's like a a, a fraction younger than his twin.
A
Like if we
different,
actually
yeah.
like test, but yeah, so that movie plays with that a lot. But I love
Science.
the emotion. I love the emotion in that movie. Like him having to watch his daughter grow up in like in a matter of minutes or like hours. Like he left and came back. It's like it's been 30 years, and then he watches it. He's like, no, I know people meme the crap out of that moment,
I
but
mean, it's just a him moment. It's like him being
yeah,
what's I can't Matthew. Uh,
yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
yeah, just being the most McConaughey like facial expression possible.
Yeah, great movie. Love that movie. Don't know how I got to that topic, but
I don't remember either. Long story short,
Hiroshi Sato
Hiroshi
sacrificing
Sato.
himself. Oh, time, because
Right,
time is
that's
in a
it.
circle. I was thinking about that because Interstellar does a lot of these things about time and circles. Like the spaceship is kind of in the shape of a clock. There's a watch that also I don't understand how they transmitted the data on how to stall for whatever through a watch. It's like okay, I guess it's through Morse. I don't know at what point you found the trend to get that. You would have to put that through a supercomputer,
Yeah, don't that
but she doesn't. She just
can't
writes
dwell
it
on it
out.
too long.
Yeah. Anyway, um, but time runs out. He says, "I love you, Asami." Pulls her flight thingy, parachute, ejecto seat out. He
Ejectocito,
gets caught.
cuz
Yeah, ejecto seat out.
Austin Tabor has a what's it, the cigarette lighter? The cigarette lighter thing in his car. He has one that says Ejectocito and it looks like a button. It's
I
fantastic.
love. I saw Too Fast, Too Furious in theaters like 3 times. Love that film. I haven't seen it in a while. Probably doesn't age that well,
I doubt it.
but
But like
yeah,
for what it was at the time, it was a entertaining
yeah.
film. Absolutely.
The funniest scene in that is Paul Walker and Tyrese are like walking out of something, and then Paul Walker has like some type of history with Eva Mendes' character, and Tyrese is like, "Yo, what's happened with that?" He's like, "Forget about it." He's like, "Nah, man, we can't forget about it." He's like, "Forget about it, cuh." And then the thing is that "cuh," the word "cuh" is a word used uh by gang members, Crips. Yeah, Crips. They call each other "cuh" is short for cousin or cuz. They call each other "cuh." So like, if it's so, they are specifically the only people who use the word "cuh" like that. Like, I can't just go around in North Tulsa and be like, "What up, cuh?" They'll be like, Who are you?
Come
Like,
again? Which one you with? What?
yeah. It's so funny to hear Paul Walker say, "Forget about it." 'Cause it's also funny because a black dude directed the second Too Fast, Too Furious, and you could just tell you're probably like, "I'm gonna write this in and see what
Just see
the
if he
fuck."
says it. See, if I was Paul Walker, I just had to say it and be like, all right, I'll try
Yeah.
my best
All
to
right.
make that sound natural.
And he says, I said, forget about it, cuz. And it's like, oh crap, Paul Walker's gang affiliated stuff. It's so funny.
uh, and then of course the bad guy from Batman Begins, whose name I can't remember, but that guy is always a crooked cop. Always.
Yeah. He's in it. Yeah.
He has the rat torture thing going on. It's messed
That's
up.
right. Oh gosh, yeah.
He's always a crooked cop. That guy's typecast. If he can you imagine if he wanted to be a cop in real life and you had to be like, no man, I've seen your resume. Anyway, Hiroshi Sato.
All right. Watch it. I don't know how I got off two tangents with Hiroshi Sato.
Because I said eject us here.
Anyway,
That's my fault.
that is true. Yeah, he died.
Hiroshi. So I have to just chime in that he was pretty close to my top 5, just because of the
Ooh,
nature of, like, he didn't have a long redemption arc, but it's so good. Like, what a gratifying peak. What a, like, hey, I made my mistakes and I'm literally giving my all to fix it, right? So it's very touching emotionally, and we love Asami, and it's her dad, and finally like a full reunification to the side of good. But then on screen, it's also just kind of an awesome death on screen to watch and absorb. So it was real close to my top 5. I think it wound up as an honorable mention for me. I've got number 7, which is Yoon. And this is in the Shadow of Kyoshi, so the second Kyoshi novel, where he is kind of the antagonist in the story. It's hard to just describe him as an antagonist. And at the end of the story, they have a tremendous fight in the mansion. I forget the name of the mansion, which I should know because I'm listening to it right now, where they were, the first book. The mansion where they were all essentially becoming Team Avatar, but when Yoon was the Avatar, they have a great fight in that mansion, and it becomes compelling, and then Yoon essentially is, I don't know how to describe it without demeaning it, but it's almost like he's trying really hard to like he wants them to just kill him and end it. Like knows his power will be too great. And he wouldn't let anyone else in the world kill him, is sort of the interpretation I took, other than his two best friends in the world, this spirit infused Yoon that would be too great for anyone to overcome, and he wouldn't even maybe let any other part of humanity overcome him. But there's still enough human in Yoon that he tries to give himself up to be killed, and it's very sad. If
funny,
you
I might just misread that, but because I misread plenty of things. Sure, I thought Yang Chen at one point spirit bend someone's body out of their head body. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I don't remember that part of that, but you sounds.
which part specifically don't you remember?
Oh, the part that you're saying, like he felt like he should die.
Just interpretation, but he essentially was trying really hard not to fight back against his friends and just let it be over. And so I definitely I misread stuff sometimes. I pick up way more with the audiobooks, especially when I'm like actually focused and just doing something mundane. But yeah, my interpretation, which is probably overthought, is I just don't think he would have even allowed the possibility for anybody else alive in the world to kill him. But in that case, it was essentially the human side of Yoon that was still great, best friends with Rangi, and Kyoshi was not fighting back at a certain point. But I could be, listen, I'm not a great reader also. That was just one man's interpretation. Either way, it's extremely sad. It's their best friend in the world, who they thought was dead, and now he's a bad guy. Quote unquote.
Yeah. Um, it's a really interesting fight because like in the ideal world, these three would honestly probably be a throuple. Because like there was there was romantic connection, or at least there was a hint of it between all three of them. Like I was like, oh, I think Kyoshi. Like reading the book, I thought Kyoshi loved Yoon. It's only before I think she made her feelings for Rangi. And like you could see a future of them two being together because Yoon's like not that proud or something that he wouldn't be with a tall woman and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it makes the story really sad that like those two have to take him out, and then she takes him out in like the most BA way is that she pretty much blood bends his heart or lungs. It might have been the lungs, frozen to where like he kind of sprouts like these like wings out his back, like so Mortal Kombat style of like throwing just ice through someone's body that it chills so fast. And she learns that from Aunt Twok, I think's her name. I forgot her name. Um, but she learns that from that waterbender.
Awesome, awesome, touching scene.
Yeah. Number. Not about to read this whole book. I need to finish listening to the audio of it. That was probably a year ago. I was starting to re-listen to it. Number 10, 9, 8, 7, sits. Speaking of sits, yes, sits. Speaking of people Kyoshi has killed, although, well, no, she just really wanted to kill this person. Number 6 is Jianju. To connect it with Yoon, Yoon kills Jianju, and it's like out of freaking nowhere. Like Jianju and Kyoshi are locked in this gridlock, this tug of war. Kyoshi's trying to keep this tavern, I guess, from
I interpret it
being
as like a whole small village, essentially, that she's trying to hold together.
yeah, and like the people inside have no idea what the heck is going on because they're just like, oh, there's it's shaking ever so slightly. Um, but her and Janju are locked in this battle, and then it was so confusing reading the first time.
I
It's
had to
like,
read it twice for sure.
yeah, yeah. It's like, and Yoon walks in, and then he takes a pebble, and he shows it to me, and he puts it on the back of Janju. Then he puts his other hand on the front of Janju's chest, and then the pebble goes, or the rock goes through, and then out the other side, he shows me the pebble bloodied and puts it on the table and walks away like he wasn't there.
Well, they describe him. I don't remember the exact words because I'm not there at my re-listen here, but as like they note that something's different about him. I'm gonna call it
Yeah,
ghostly. I don't remember how they describe it, and it just it was a great curveball. Like you're not expecting that Yoon's dead. Yoon has been dead in your mind. You've forgotten about him. You moved on. It's so unexpected. And then what an awesome way. Sorry, kid, don't murder people first and foremost. But what an awesome way to kill somebody.
yeah, very visual too, like very
Slow,
dark.
gruesome, thoughtful. It's earthbending, right? So that's got to hurt the worst. Like three of the greatest earthbenders alive, or that were all alive at one point in time, I guess, overlapping. Just to casually walk up and like, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Where are we at? I've got number, what is this, number 4? I've got number 4. Oh, this is probably a Chris favorite. We should have swapped things up so you could take this one. That's okay.
Wait,
Uh,
no. You have number 5.
I have number 5, which is, oh, you're right, number 5, the Earth Queen. Well, this is the one I was looking at. I just can't count. The Earth Queen. And so Zahir kills the Earth Queen in what can be described as nothing short of torture. It's the opposite of Janju's death. Like Janju's death is literally like as quick and clean as possible. Like you're dead. No, Earth Queen. strangled by having the oxygen slowly airbent out of her chest by
Wow, wow, a monologue is going on.
right. He doesn't do the villain monologue and get caught monologuing. It's like, no, he's killing her as he monologues, slowly and painfully. And there's just so much to it about him being an earthbender, him
There.
delivering his essential as breathing monologue that's like touching to you as an
Yeah.
audience, even though you're watching him murder a person slowly. Uh,
Yeah.
and the animation is so good of the air leaving in just her face and how it becomes, I guess, more like gaunt as it happens. And to this point, very important statement, to this point, this is the most gruesome death that you have seen in Avatar. Or at least the one that is like the most like, holy crap, this is a severe on screen,
There
not
is no. It is the most on screen. Like there's no type of
yes,
vagueness about it.
no
There's no
cloaking
type of
device.
ambiguity. It is. It's not a distance. You
It's not a
see the air.
kaiju spirit. It's not a nebulous creature. It's a person dying on screen.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's freaking messed up. The thing is, this is one of those things of like all the time. After our fans try to like push the limits of bending, or they try to just be like, "Well, couldn't a bender airbender do this?" And it's like, yeah, an airbender could just take out the air out of your
But they
lungs.
wouldn't because they're an
And
airbender, right?
exactly, yeah.
Nope, there's a here. And yeah, there's just, and like I said, there's something about when you're listening to his speech and his speech makes sense and you know that the Earth Queen is bad, but you're a human. And so you think to yourself, that ain't right.
Yeah, also it's the man. I wish I could remember my first time watching it because I'm not sure I knew he was gonna kill her. I don't think I thought he was actually gonna kill her.
My first time watching, I'm gonna say, was with you. Maybe not in a literal sense, but like at that point, in 2014 or something,
Yeah. Hmm.
in that ballpark. Great death.
Great. Yeah.
It
Great.
that definitely was in my top five. It was absolutely in my top five when we initially before we gave up and combined lists.
Number four. I'm glad I got number four. It was up to Sean. This would be lower.
Yep. That's
Number four is probably the one that breaks my heart the most. It definitely is the one that breaks my heart the most. It is the death of Kelsong at the hands of his best friend Jeonju. And I don't. This is when the Kyoshi novel went from like, oh crap, this is the type of story they're telling. Like he, and it's quick. It's sudden death, like Melly. Like one shot killed Kelsung, and it's written in such a way of like it's written in such a way that it's beautifully written because it shows the different mindsets between Kelsung and Jianju. It's like Jianju blasted Kelsung with an air blast meant just to push him back, a huge air blast meant to push him
just
back.
to
And
create
Jianju,
separation.
yeah, and Jianju sent just this little splinter of earth that could easily weave through the air, and it hits Kelsung in the neck, and it was meant to kill. Like two different mindsets. It's like, did he have to kill him? Like Jianju just messed up, like in the head. Yeah, and like in that point, you got a real good sense of Kelsung. He was Kyoshi's father figure, one of the good things in this freaking world. And Kyoshi's had I mean, especially looking at it from Kyoshi's point of view, it's like I only had like Kyoshi has so much uncertainty, and Kelsung is one of the great things in the world, and he's killed in front of her. It's great,
The
great.
it it's probably more impactful because you're still it's still really set in your heart that like Jonju's supposed to be a good guy. This is Team Avatar after all. These two are friends. They're three. The group of three friends is tight knit and they've been together forever. And up to this point, there again, I know I feel like I said a lot. At this point in time, it's like the most surprising possible turn that you weren't expecting the first time that you read it, or at least like it caught me completely off guard. Even though he had already
Sacrifice you.
man, sorry, yeah, I was just thinking, I was
But
like,
even
we
that
just talked about
scene,
Yoon dying, but yeah, even after he sacrificed Yoon, you're like, oh crap, he had to make a sacrifice to the spirit or whatever.
like you don't condone that at all. But you're like, you don't.
The
You're just like, all
gravity of
right,
the
he needed.
situation is so much different here.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know the science behind this, but it makes me think of high school track when the coach would try to explain how there's a certain way, if you're good at throwing javelin and you throw javelin directly into the wind, that it is like
Oh.
sort of unhindered by the wind, right? Like any other thing might be, right? You throw a blunt object. That's what made me think it was like, oh, he's like throwing a javelin into the wind and it just is untethered or unhindered just because it's a two-dimensional spike, essentially. I don't know, it just made
Yeah.
me think of high school track. I was like, oh, it's probably some kind of physics involved there.
Hmm.
Unimportant, just nostalgia. Chris, I'm stoked that I get number 3 because it's awesome. Pali in book 3 when she dies in what I'm not supposed to describe deaths as cool. It's not cool. Don't
I
kill
think.
people.
Yeah.
This is the coolest like action movie death on screen in any Avatar animated anything. I'm choosing my words pretty carefully there. When Suyin flings the metal piece over her face before she's gonna combustion bend and explodes her own head inside of a metal encased helmet, and it just, even though we just saw Zahir kill the Earth Queen not too long ago, so there's murder capable, there's death here. The implications that she essentially exploded her own head inside of a metal shell, that Suyin just killed her in like the snap of a finger. It's probably the opposite of the Earth Queen because it's so sudden and you're almost not ready. Like when the Earth Queen, when he starts doing that to the Earth Queen and he's monologuing and it's slow and painful and gruesome, but like he's killing her and it's slow. It's like, no, like you're not ready for Pali just to go from controlling a fight at range to dead. And then
Yeah.
emotionally, obviously, Pali's not the big bad, but that sets Zahir to another level. Like it's a unique stake because now on one hand Zahir has lost his lady friend, but on the other hand now he is untethered. Now he's full power Zahir, and also he can fly now. And so I think the consequences maybe are not, the stakes are not the highest by any stretch, but it has like the most unique outcome in you pissed Zahir off and made him better at his job because of it, kind of. So, most unique set of consequences and probably the coolest individual death, but I'm kind of holding my tongue on that because of the next one or two here.
Coolest.
Just
This is
coolest, just
cool.
like action
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
death.
Ooh, that's close. We'll get to the next one.
We'll get to
But
that. We'll get to that.
this one here is freaking great. Like you said, police controlling the fight, and also Suyin and Lin have fought police before in the battle at Zalfu, so they know. All right, like Suyin says, to deal with combustion emitter, you have to knock them in the center of their head. And so with the fights going on, I'm thinking, okay, Lin is gonna draw the fire, and then Suyin is gonna get that clear shot at her head.
Hmm?
And so when like Lynn is like kind of against the ropes, and then Lee goes in to do this, I'm thinking, oh, there's gonna be a shot to the head. Instead, Su Yan comes from behind, and right as she is like, and you can see the freaking air, like, because there's always like a circle. You can see it going, and then just when the sound design,
It's so good.
it was it was like there was like a Taco Bell ring of like almost that
Dong.
reverberated,
The old Taco Bell
and then
ring, not I don't even know if they do the ring anymore. The old Taco Bell ring.
yeah,
Dong.
and then you just see freaking smoke in the distance, and I'm like, holy crap, she blew her head off. And this is a Y7 show. How did they get away with this?
But Suyin is pragmatic. And she's tying up loose ends, and I'm not saying she should do it, but it's not like I don't know, it's not like you're gonna incapacitate her and then convert her. Like, you know what? Nope, this is a threat to my immediate well being.
Yeah, to my sister, I gotta cover this head. I don't have
Yeah.
those quick little pebble rock to knock her out.
She
And
might
it's just
yeah, and if you don't hit her with the rock, like she might blast through any other kind of incapacitative measure. But you know what she can't blast through? Steel. Solid piece of steel.
yeah.
God, so
I mean, she probably blasted. I'm guessing that she successfully blasted through it. It's like a grenade
okay.
almost.
Okay. So she like go to but it's
Like
to
Su Yin putting that on her head made her head the inside of a grenade, and the outside was the encasement, and it exploded like a grenade.
yes. And the grenade never looks good after it's done exploding.
Yeah,
It's so cool. And it's not unexpected in the sense like you expect that they're gonna come through somehow. I don't think you're expecting Suyin or Lin to die necessarily. But just I don't think I was expecting her to die, much less have her head imploded.
yeah, that was definitely shocking.
Yeah. Awesome.
Number dos, number two, one of the coolest death scenes, one of the coolest Avatar state moments,
Mm.
and that is Kyoshi killing the leader of the Yellownecks, Zhu. Holy crap! Like the fight, one thing, the fight itself, great fight. Actually, I'm not sure I'll say it's a because it's not a
It's
back and
not
forth.
really a
Uh,
fight. It's like kind of over on one side and then it's over on the other side.
yeah, like one thing it was freaking cool. Like as you read it, it's like from Kyoshi's point of view, he extends two fingers forward, and next thing like it just goes blank, and lightning comes out his hand, and then he keeps shocking Kyoshi, and then she finally like grabs him, and then it goes through his body, and then Rangi cries out, which pisses off Kyoshi. But hearing Rangi cry for Kyoshi being hurt pisses Kyoshi more off than Kyoshi being hurt. And then
So
she goes into the Avatar state, and then lifts him up like by the collar, and it's rare like lifts him up to the high, it's like 2 stories up or something, probably more than that. And then like there's like I think there's 2 bushels of wheat or something, and she burns them, puts a blaze, almost like it's like she's a god at this point. And then uh and then Zhu tries to firebend through his mouth at her, and she just sucks up the fire. And people read it back as like this ghostly spirit sucked the life out of somebody, and then she like created a vortex that sucked the air out of him, and then she just drops him, and he falls to the to the ground dead.
the legend story is almost as cool as the actual thing. It's a long description of what amounts to a couple moments, right? Like
Yeah,
as I'm listening to it, where it's probably like 5 solid minutes of description of They start the fight. He shocks her a few times. And she's already down, laying on the ground, but he's trying to make a show of it, right? Because he's a villain. And so he's like getting closer to her, and then he shocks, and he keeps shocking. He doesn't know that she's not hurt anymore. It literally says she's playing dead. And she grabs his ankle, and then so the shock flows back through him, and he like pitches a high pitched squeak unbecoming of someone of his stature or something like that. But it's all in that same moment that's happening, and that Rangi is yelling out, and that then she's like going into the avatar state, and she's premeditating this, looking into his eyes. And like as they're rising into the air, and she describes her eyes, the avatar state is like her eyes are like leaking liquid or light, and they're raising into the air, and just that she's like looking into his eyes, and he's scared and he's beat, but that's still behind his eyes. She's just like, no, there's still a person back there who is stubborn, who is like, this is preposterous that somebody's doing this to me, and that's the person that fire breathes in her face. And then she's like, nope, despite all of the feelings of all the other avatars that I can feel in my head saying, don't do this. Oh, but I don't know. I love it. I think it's an amazing scene, and it makes me love Kyoshi, and it kind of establishes who Kyoshi is. And then it really helps set the tone. They like right after this, the narrative of her talking about, why did I not kill Tay, but I did kill this person? And then get a great dialogue with Laugia. So on one hand, the consequences are like, well, this guy wasn't present the whole book, and then she kills him. Like, how big are the consequences? Or how much of the stakes? But it's really setting a tone for Kyoshi understanding what being an avatar is going to be like. It's super cool. I love it so much. Go read that book. If you haven't read that book yet, just go read it. You don't even have to read the other books. Just read that one. You should read some of the other books, but read that one. Chris, honorable mentions? I've got two here and a funny one just to talk about.
All right, you go ahead.
Unavatu's death. Lek. I think Lek would probably higher up on yours than mine. And then I just thought it was funny that, like, we didn't really address Sparky Boom Man definitely dies. Like, he gets the rock to the head, so combustion bending just doesn't end well for anybody, apparently.
That's interesting.
Sparky Boom Man definitely dies. Because there's the whole cliffside essentially collapses on him. He's dead, right? Anyway, don't combustion bend. And then Lex is via poisoning, and it's particularly sad because it's literally just after he and Kyoshi had sort of started to bond and understand their relationship and the choices maybe that Kyoshi's parents had made. And so I argued that it's not the most exciting death, but it is gut-wrenching because it's like a Jet thing. They had just it's kind of two people in a relationship, but their relationship had just turned a corner for the better. And
I think Lek I don't think it was poison, but he was allergic to the Shirshu. Well, I guess Shirshu poison is poison. Sorry. But typically the Shirshu venom just knocks people out. But I think he had an allergic reaction to it that made him suffocate.
I guess so. Not poisonous, but venomous, semantically, I suppose.
Yeah.
But anyway, R.I.P.
I mean, I think that's why it's like, because Kyoshi was describing that as that. And I think what made her hate it more was that, like, he just had an allergic reaction to it, but still freaking Janju's fault, and Janju's gonna pay for what he did.
When she had just like started letting her guard down about Janju, also just that, man, what I love about that book, maybe more than anything, is that the different what do you call them? There's like 3 conflicts in most stories, right? And it just has such a great step up from conflict A to conflict B to this final conflict C. It all flows naturally. It's not really gravitating from like saving the city to saving the world. It feels more organic and grounded than that. I love it. And then unfortunately, like, dies. Also, there's that. Spoiler alert. And Chris, those are the honorable mentions we have listed. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. I'm sure we're missing some people, but maybe not impactful enough to be honorable mentions.
Like I said, Avatar Last Airbender didn't have many deaths.
Unanimity, people dying. We talked about does the bad lady in
the second Kyoshi book,
does she die?
no.
Can't remember. Okay, she doesn't die. Ancient doesn't really kill people. We're not to that party. Ancient. She does. She kills the one guy under the. Is it the last unanimity guy? God, I gotta go. I need to get back through all these books. But even that's just not. The impact is missing. You know. We don't care that much about that guy. Anyway, Chris, give us the number one.
Number one, and it's probably more so my number one is.
Nah, I fully support it. It's great.
Okay, is the murder suicide in this Y7 show of Amon and Tarlok. Like, this was
murder suicide.
Self-righteous. Anyway, that's Chop Suey. Such a I don't know what the meaning of that song is, but anyway, yeah. So it's Noah Talk. It's Amon and Tarlok on a boat. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That was like right in the mic. It was Amon and Tarlok on the boat, and it's kind of like, and Tarlok, sorry, Amon feels, he almost has this like joy to be reunited with his brother, and like, all right, we got a fresh start. He's like, and then he's like, me and you, brother, just like the old days. And Tarlok's just in the back, like, yes, Noah Talk. And then he's like, Noah Talk. I haven't heard that name in such a long time. And he starts to cry. And then Tarlok says, like, it'll be just like the old days. And he freaking electrocutes the boat, or where the gas, I guess is where the gasoline goes, and blows up. It's like, what?
But the fact, what does, okay, so murder suicide Y7 show of these characters after the conflict is essentially resolved, right? There would have been other routes they could have taken. Yeah. But there's something about that, like the interaction, because they're escaping together on a boat. They're together, but it's like the interaction on the boat is something about the interaction in Amon's maybe ambitions that he's like resensing or recoming to terms with that makes him make that choice in the moment. Because like they've escaped, right? If
Tarlok, yeah,
they could have taken it, but it's like that interaction is what makes him think like, no, I can't risk it for the world. This person can't be here.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed remorseful when he was talking to Korra and apologized to her. And I think from looking at the commentary, he felt like the world can't handle these two bloodbenders. Like it's the most powerful being. It's interesting, like if you think about unanimity, right? They're like, oh, combustion benders. It's like there's 3 combustion benders, and they can take over
the world.
Like, and it's like, nah, these 2 bloodbenders could take over anything they wanted to take over. Like they could take bending away, well, not both of them, but take bending away. No one can come close to them in terms of bending. And Tarlok felt like in that moment, we both need to go. And I find it.
He could have taken different. He could have taken different methods at different times, and it's just something about. I guess just what hits the hardest to me is like this like heart to heart talk with his brother is what makes him realize that there's no good outcome from any of this. That's so sad. It hits you so
Yeah.
hard.
It was. I think this might have been the most shocking moment in all Valor. We might someday do top 10 shocking moments.
It might be
Uh,
kind of some overlap to what we've talked here. Like,
oh, there'll definitely be some overlap because death is shocking.
but we
Um,
can get plenty of not death in there in that
oh
too.
yeah, I can think of plenty of not death moments in Avatar that are shocking. But I to this day, like I have a ambition that one day we'll have Mike and Brian on the show. Don't know how or when. One day we're gonna interview Mike and Brian on the
We gotta
show.
hope that they go broke and we can just offer them like $100 and like, God, yeah, we could use $100. $100 each or $100 just share. But it doesn't matter. We need that $100.
I need to reach back out on Instagram again that I did probably 4 years ago. Right, I'm gonna do that right after we do that. Hey, it's me again. Just following up from my last message.
Per my previous email.
Yeah. But I would love to ask him, like, what the hell were you guys thinking? Like, murder, suicide, and how did you get it through Nickelodeon? And they'll be like, we don't know. Like, why would you even write that in the first place, thinking it would get approved? And then it got approved.
Yeah, it's wild. It's great stuff. If you even for like the on-screen portrayal, like, all right, there's some of it that's implication, but I mean, I like a good action movie death, right? They literally die in a speedboat explosion. What's more action movie than that? That's Nicolas Cage face-off death right there. Boat explosions.
I recently watched the movie
Face Off with Nicolas Cage.
No, did not watch that movie.
Missed opportunity.
The movie, The Other Guy.
The Other Guys?
No, not the other guy. No, not the other guys. The Fall Guy. Fall Guy with
okay.
Ryan.
Okay.
With
Reynolds.
Ryan Gosling.
Reynolds? Gosling.
No, Gosling. Gosling.
It is Gosling? No. Crap.
Yeah, it's Gosling.
I guess I haven't seen the movie. Anyway, go ahead.
But there is a speedboat explosion that happens in it because he's like he's like a stunt man, and he purposely does this stunt to like get away from something, get away from the bad guy. Great movie. I mean, it's a great movie. I really enjoyed the movie. You can watch the extended cut today on Peacock.
Nice. Which I definitely legitimately purchased and pay for myself.
You did, yeah.
I'm on record as saying I love a good boat explosion in an action movie. It's the only redeeming quality to Face Off. I got to be honest. I'm sorry, anybody who's a big Face Off fan. The boat explosions, there's like 3 of them in a 5-minute span. That's really the calling card of that movie. the sequel better up it to like 5 boat explosions. But yeah, not to put too much levity on otherwise a very sad and troubling situation, but shocking, emotional, big, a lot of closure jam packed into like less than 30 seconds. It's pretty powerful. Chris, I think we should look at our list and examine shortly how and where our favorite deaths come from. Just not judging us, just calling out that. What do we got here? I see we have 2 from book 3 of Korra, right? We got Earth Queen, Pali, and okay, that's 2 from there. Jet's book 2 of ATLA. Malaya.
The only ATLA.
Sato, book 4. Okay, so Yoon, book 2 of Kyoshi. Janju, book 1 of Kyoshi. Kelsan, book 1 of Kyoshi. Zhu, book 1 of Kyoshi. And so I just want to call out that our favorite seasons or Avatar media, Lek, honorable mention, if you want to throw that in there, just so happened to be the one with the most deaths. Just coincidentally. And
the Avatar universe might need more deaths.
Might need more deaths.
You might need to add More deaths
In
and I think we
Avatar.
had this discussion.
Yeah, we did.
Should
There's
Avatar
literally an
have?
episode like just more death in Avatar, I think, or something like that was our title.
Yeah.
I believe we came to the conclusion that it could use more death, but I'm a simple
We've been
man.
recording a long time.
Yeah, we have. And my throat's going to pieces. So, you know what? This feels like as good a time as any to say thank you for listening or watching. My name's
This is how I
Shawn.
spend the night when my kids aren't home. My kids are spending the night at their grandmother's house. I was supposed to
My,
say their mother.
there must,
like I'm like
Chris,
I'm
there's something
divorced.
you need to tell us about. The
I'll be sad.
My wife just got home from a trip, and she got home at like 9:55, and it's hard to explain, but we kind of had like unexpected company here also, like stopped by for dinner. So it's like literally like one set of people was leaving my house. My wife was coming into my house. I hadn't seen her in a few days, and I was like walking downstairs, like, all right, see ya. This is how I spend my time. When anyway,
You
she's
should
also
go make that up for her. She's probably
no, she
tired.
yeah, she's tired. She been and we just got like we got back from traveling Sunday, like late Sunday, and then she left really early Wednesday. So she's exhausted. So she does not want my attention. And you can put all the like innuendo or whatever on that. She does not want any of my attention at all right now. She wants to sleep.
At what point can she no longer fly? Is it like 8 months?
Third trimester is discouraged, I
Oh,
believe. So what do we got here? She's got like another month where she could, if she wanted. I think November, December. Yeah,
I wonder, has a baby ever been born on a plane?
that's probably the primary reason, right? It's not for the baby's health or anything like that. That the flying is like no, we just don't want any accidental, early, premature births happen on a plane. That's
Dude, the
nasty.
stewardess are not trained for this.
Bring the
Yeah,
kitty litter and the mop. I guess I don't know what to do with it.
I mean, you would have to have it probably right near the pilot, whatever, the cockpit, because that's where there's most space.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just the aisle.
Excuse me, can we have the emergency exit row so she can have some leg room?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, she's exhausted. I might even sleep in the middle bedroom just to like avoid bugging her. Also, no matter how late we record, I wake up at the same time regardless, so she will not want to wake up at that time. Well, hey,
Gosh.
thanks for listening and watching, everybody. Appreciate you. My name's Shawn. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. And this Avatar: The Last Podcasters. If you can spare us any likes, bells, positive reviews, comments, thumbs ups, whatever, positive stuff, we appreciate it all. And thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.